In this video, we're going to discuss ways to take your project to the next level using Photopea for some additional edits. So you can see in the picture or the GIF on the right here how the background was created in Photopea. You have those colors that are not moving or changing. And this could be something interesting to play around with. There's a lot of different directions you can take it. So if you're interested in using Photopea on your GIF drawing, continue watching for some different tips and different directions that you can take things. So first of all, you do need to have your GIF already put together. So you can see all of my layers here are already put together. They're already lined up. This is more of a last step. So if you have not put together your GIF yet, go back, watch the video for putting together your GIF and getting everything lined up accurately. But when you're ready to put your background together, all you have to do is just open up what you're working on, open up your GIF so that you're able to add some color and some different details back into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is pretty much like the video, adding a new layer for a solid background that is going to be the same as you play your video in every frame. So to do that, the first thing is add a new layer. The layers panel to add a new layer is down at the bottom right of your screen. And then there's this little trash bin logo. To the left of that is the new layer button. You could also go up to layer at the top of your screen and hit new and then layer. But I'm just going to click this little new layer button by the trash bin. And then you're going to grab your paintbrush or paint bucket depending on what you're going for. So I'm going to show you the paintbrush first just to show exactly what I did for this GIF here where you have the different colors on top. So I'm going to do that first, grab the paintbrush on the left, and then I'm going to choose a color. So I'm going down where there's this little color box and picking a color for my paintbrush. Then I'll hit OK. And as I'm painting this, you'll notice that it completely covers the face, where in the GIF here, it's see-through. So in order to make it see-through, there's two things we're going to do. The first is lower the opacity of the paintbrush. So I'm going to undo that and lower my opacity first to around 50%. So now when I draw this, you can see through it. It is still covering up what I have a little bit. So in order to make it completely transparent where that darker value is going to really stand out as my outline, in the layers panel at the very top, it says normal. I'm going to change this to multiply. So now it's going to make it so that those lines that I have on my drawing really stand out. So in my GIF, I just kind of added a few different areas of different colors. So I kind of colored this in and then change to different colors every once in a while. So I'm going back to that bottom left corner, clicking on a different color, hitting OK, and bringing those colors in as well. So that's one thing you can do. I'm just going to use these two colors, but continue changing them if you'd like. You could even add some dots, different designs. When you're ready to see what it's going to look like, you can go up to File, Export As, and GIF. You don't have to actually save it, but you can just kind of view it to get an idea of what this is going to look like as it plays. So you can see this playing. It's keeping those lines and colors that I had in the background in the exact same spot. A couple other ideas for you. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that and add a new layer. Definitely add a new layer, super important so you're not coloring on just the one layer here, which would be permanent. You want to make it something new. But here's a few ideas. One idea that you could do is maybe just fill in one area with color. So maybe I'm just filling in the lips and then changing this from normal to multiply so that it mixes with the lips. And then I can go up to File, Export as GIF to see what this is going to look like. The problem here is that it might not line up completely perfect in every layer. So you can see with this last one, the lips kind of jump a little bit. So that might not work for my exact drawing, but might be something that could work for yours. If you want maybe the lips colored in, but it's jumping a little bit too much, something you could try is drawing on the individual layers. So what I'm going to do here is grab my paintbrush, set the opacity lower, and then on the individual layers I can go in and draw this on top. Now the issue with this is that you can't mix or change this setting to multiply in your layers panel, so you would have to do that at the top here instead. So I'm going to undo this so you can see what that would look like. I have now at the top my blending mode set to multiply, my opacity is down low. I can go in to every individual layer and color the lips in. So here is layer 1. I'm going to hide that layer, go to my next one, get those lips colored in here, and so on until you have every layer filled in. I'm just going to do these 3 so you can get the idea, and then I'll go up and play this. So maybe think about if you have one specific area, maybe the eyes that you could fill in, or if you have some sort of other additional background where you want maybe just your leaf to be normal and then in black and white and then your background in color. So you could go into each individual background and get that filled in. So kind of zooming in here, you can see those first 3 layers that I had filled in with just the lips standing out. So be creative. There's a lot of directions that you can take this. Now let's look at just a few other ideas. One thing that I want to talk about is the paint bucket and gradient tool. So I'm going to add a new layer again, and I'm going to use the gradient tool first. So the gradient tool just will put kind of a creative blend on top of what you're working with. I do need to change this from normal to multiply so I can see everything in my drawing. If you want to change the color of your gradient, that's going to be found up at the very top. So again, this is the gradient tool here. On the left, up on the top, I'm clicking that to change color. So maybe instead of pink, I can change it to blue into more of this purple color. So to change it, I just double clicked. You can also click somewhere else to add a third color. So I just clicked at the bottom and maybe more of a teal color, and then I'll hit OK. It doesn't automatically change it on your screen, so you have to click and drag across in the direction that you want that gradient to go. So here is one direction that I can draw that in. You can also change the different ways that your blending mode is fading from one color to the next. So I can change that to radial, angled. So play around with these. There's a lot of cool, interesting ways that you can take your project further. The last thing I want to mention is the paint bucket tool. So I'm going to add a new layer and grab the paint bucket tool, which is underneath the same section as the gradient. So I'm just clicking, holding that down, changing to my paint bucket, and then I can fill in the entire section with one color. Same thing, you'll want to change the blending mode to multiply. If you feel like it's too bright, you can lower the opacity.